alkaline. Usually she don't go there.
Any comments on the alkaline water? Okay. Okay. Some have tried it.
Have you tried it?
I didn't notice a difference. I've tried it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice a difference. Others say it heals a lot, so.
There's some really expensive waters. It's like $35 a bottle, like ionic water.
I have. You tried that?
No.
Okay.
Try to go really, just stay really low tech.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like this water, so for just daily drinking, you would recommend like the spring water with distill?
I used to think that spring water was better, and I even had it delivered or I would buy it until I saw these studies that showed that Chicagoland water is really clean and that it has things that are good, like for my son, the fluoride and that's not in the spring water. So if you're in a place that has clean water, I would just use the tap water. You're kind of spending a lot of money and using plastic to bring those spring waters in. Those plastic bottles are a really big problem. So, but I mean, like you have a Brita filter, so you can also filter it if you're worried about heavy metals or chemicals being in the water.
Have you tried the well water?
I grew up with well water.
Oh, wow.
It's good, but it can be rough too, because the wells have to be primed a lot, and if they're not, it tastes kind of rusty.
Oh, okay.
I think because our poor Mother Earth is getting like so polluted that we run into those kind of problems.
Does boiling, old-fashioned style boiling, does that take care of?
It does if you're in certain areas, but the filters that they have now are really good.
Okay.
I go into water and its spiritual properties a lot in my first book, Sticks, Stones, Roots, and Brooms, talking about like using lightning water and spring water, distilled water, rainwater for different kinds of potions and things like that.
Like bathing or just soaking in water, are there like essential oils or anything that like you would put in that are more spiritually tuning?
Like frankincense and myrrh would be two really good ones that you could use right off the top of my head. Their frankincense, I put a little bit of that on before I came here today because it gets you in touch with the higher order angels and deity. So I really like those in the bath. I like neroli a lot, but it could be a little floral for you maybe. It's really sweet. The other two that I mentioned, frankincense and myrrh, are more earthy. And then if you can't get a hold of myrrh, vetiver is from Haiti.
Vetiver?
And that smells along the same kind of musky, earthy line. So I would suggest those. But just experiment because they're all really good and they all have different frequencies and qualities of attraction to them. So, yes.
You spoke about astral dreams as two different modes of, I don't know how to put it, experiencing life or observing life. Do you have personal experience with astral travel, and can you say a few words about that?
I do. I'm a lucid dreamer, and again, like my most spiritual book was Sticks, Stones, Roots, and Bones, so I have a whole dream chapter in there. I talk about that. With astral travel, it's more intentional than whereas dreams are tapping into our intuition. Sometimes ancestors come into your dreams and so forth, but astral travel is much more intentional and take some mind control, breath control to get you to that space where you can travel there.
And which herbs would you recommend for that, if any?
The first one, again, that comes to mind is frankincense, just because it's such high frequency. It's like really high, really up there.
What do you mean by that, frequency, high frequency? How do you measure, how do you know that?
I know it from experience, but first I read about it through some aromatherapists that are very spiritual, and they talked about it, and then I experienced it for myself. And it even has, it's a high note. I mean, everything about it is high when you smell it. Do you carry
Strong.
frankincense?
Yeah, I do have some.
It's like our number one seller.
Is it?
So because the scent is potent, that's a good way of being able to distinguish whether it's a high or strong.
It's not just potency, because things like patchouli and vetiver and myrrh are potent too, but they're low, they're grounding, and they're earthy. So therefore, a whole different purpose. They kind of hold you down and ground you. That's why people really like to use frankincense and myrrh together, because it's like the perfect yin-yang. One is really high and one is earthy and lower. And it's not low in a bad way. It's like a base, like a base.
Do you give consultations to people who might be, trying to pursue a more spiritual path? Do you
Absolutely.
do that for people? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ready to drink some detox tea? Let's see if we can
All
work this
right.
out. Okay. You can come up here to the table.